This is Get Real with Bob and Stacy, the show that helps you learn about the mortgage and real estate markets. Get the inside scoop from their expert list of guests and have some fun along the way. Now, here's Bob Gallagher and Stacy Alcorn.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here on Get Real with Bob and Stacy. You're joining us for a special edition of our Leaders and Legends to open up the show today. Joining us by phone, we have Tamara Dorris on the line, and she's an author and speaker. Welcome to the show, Tamara.
Thank you. It's so great to be here.
Since a lot of the people that listen to our program are in real estate and mortgage-related businesses, I want to give a little bit of background about Tamara. In addition to being in the real estate industry for 20 years as an active agent, she's been a college and university professor for more than 11 years. She has a formal education and interest in psychology, human potential, and neuroscience, and a graduate degree in communications. She has spent her adult life researching and writing about the neuroscience of personal performance and professional development. She is now working on her 17th book. She's also a certified hypnotherapist, longtime real estate and corporate trainer, workshop leader, and host of her own radio show. Her latest book, which we're going to talk today about, is Mind Over Market, the Real Estate Warrior's Roadmap to Mindset, Marketing, and Media. And it is an Amazon #1 best-selling book. So first off, let's talk about the neuroscience of success. How does your brain make or break your business in real estate, mortgages, or any sales business?
Okay, excellent question, Stacy. Essentially, our brain is comprised of about 100 billion neurons, and because it's economical, what happens is with repetition, whether it's a thought or an experience or an event that has a lot of emotion involved with it, these neural pathways form, and eventually they go on what I call autopilot. And so most of our habits and our actions are really on autopilot. We are operating about 97, 98% on autopilot. And so what I have found is in my research with top producers over the last 20 years is that most people, whatever the industry, but particularly with real estate, is that most people who are not successful, it has to do with this programming, that they're on autopilot and they don't even realize, what's holding them back. They just know that they're not doing as well as they could be doing.
So what could somebody do to fix that?
Well, and so what's really great is about 15 years ago, neuroscience discovered something called neuroplasticity. And one of the things that's really great about neuroplasticity is now that we know the brain can grow new neurons, so we can change this programming for one thing. And another reason, Stacey, that it's so awesome is because neuroplasticity shows us that people, through just doing brain exercises, can actually build new neural connections, and that has been shown to actually prevent and slow down Alzheimer's.
Wow.
That's interesting. All right, so are there brain exercises in your book?
Yeah, well, so in my book, brain exercises, we're talking about like luminosity, crossword puzzles, things like that.
Gotcha.
So no, not in my book. My book is geared towards using this in a way that will help real estate professionals or salespeople in general really learn to create neural pathways that are conducive to their growth, their professional growth. So I have visualization exercises, meditation exercises that kind of lead to that end.
Wow, that's cool. You talk about that clients can easily pick up on an agent's fear. So how do we know as a real estate agent if that's happening to us, and how do we fix it?
Good question. So the study that I referred to is one that they did where they took several series of individuals who were born blind, and these people had absolutely no eyesight whatsoever, and they held up pictures in front of their face of different people with different expressions, and they monitored their brain activity at this point. And by no coincidence whatsoever, whenever there was a face that was frightened or, in horror or scared or anxious, that region of the blind person's brain lit up, like somehow they just knew. So there's something, it's a little bit woo, I have no idea, but the study proved it inconclusively. I mean, it just was absolutely certain. So my advice for agents or any professionals is before you get on the phone, check your physiology. Hold your posture up, and don't make phone calls or call on clients or prospects if you're feeling anxious or nervous or fearful. Really work on getting your courage up and your confidence and approach things when you're in a good mood, because we think, oh, no one's going to know. But people know. People pick up on it.
Interesting. Now, in sales in general, real estate, mortgages, anything, success is often based on having certain good habits. So how can someone rewire their brain so that they are practicing better habits for success?
Oh, very good question. So one of the things, when I'm talking to agents or, giving a presentation or something, people will say, well, I need to change my habit of XYZ. Mm-hmm. And part of the way that we reprogram our brain is by giving our brain the experience of what we want it to be reprogrammed to. So if you want to see yourself, for example, getting up every morning and maybe hitting the phone and prospecting your first 2 hours, then instead of beating yourself up that you're not doing it, every day spend some time in a visualization. Close your eyes, turn off everything around you, and spend about 5 or 10 minutes visualizing yourself getting up every morning and making those calls, and add a little bit of emotion to it, because when we're feeling emotion, we're just actually releasing neurochemicals in our brain. And the combination of those two things actually will help rewire our brain so that our brain begins to think with repetition, oh, I get up in the morning and make these calls. And we know that this has been used in Olympics and athletic training for many, many decades, but I'm bringing it into sales.
Talk about being mindful. How important is it for a salesperson to be mindful, and what does being mindful mean?
Okay, good. So being mindful, and I really want to eliminate any kind of a woo-woo connotation with the word mindful. Being mindful means being aware. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, but I can't think of one person who would want to work with a real estate agent who wasn't aware and being really conscious about what's going on. So most of us are very caught up in our external environments. Most of us are worried about tomorrow, or we're thinking about yesterday, and we're just not mindful about the very precise moment that we're in. And obviously, the moment that we're in is the only moment that we can make changes in. So being mindful, by definition, is being present and aware. And the reason why it's so important to our industry, in my opinion, is that, first of all, what I just said to you is mm-hmm. that people pick up on anxiety, and we know that this is a highly anxious industry. And so that gives us kind of a bad rap with consumers, because they see us or they interpret us as being pushy, when in fact it could just be our own fear coming out. And another reason is because when we're mindful, we're able to come up with our most creative solutions. If your brain is in high beta and you're really stressed out, you're not being mindful, you're not going to be able to save that escrow. You're not going to be able to save the deal because you're going to be all stressed out. So you think more clearly when you're being mindful.
It's so interesting, this book, because I think as I own a real estate brokerage, we have about 400 agents at my company, and the tools to success, what it takes to succeed in real estate or in any sales, are pretty much, we know what you have to do. These are the 5 or 6 things that if you do these 5 or 6 things well, then you're going to make money in real estate. What I think most people don't think about is that the people that really excel, their competitive advantage is in understanding how their brain contributes to the results they have, which is exactly what this whole book is about.
Absolutely. And I love that you said how you initially started that, because I always say there's nothing new under the real estate sun. Your job as an agent is to match people with property. And people say, oh, we've got this new thing. Maybe technology is new, I'll give you that, but there's just really nothing new. You said it. It's the same. You do the same thing, but it's how you approach it that I think makes the biggest difference.
Do you ever find people that you just can't help? I'll give you an example. I've run into salespeople in my career where I can see that their biggest hurdle that they need to get past is just simply their own limiting belief about themselves. And no matter what I do, they just can't seem to get past they can't get out of their own way. What do you do with people like that? Or are there people that just will never get it?
So, well, I don't believe that everyone is hopeless, but what I do agree with what you just said is that everyone has limiting beliefs.
Yes.
Everyone has limiting beliefs. So I don't separate people like that. What I separate people from when it comes to who can I help and who am I not going to help, are people who won't take responsibility. So everyone has a limiting belief, but if you're going to be a victim about it, then I'm not going to help you. I'm not even going to try because I've got my reputation on the line. And the very simple test is to say, is it everyone else's fault for where you are right now, or did you have something to do with it? Because, you were there. So did you possibly have something to do with it? And if they deny that wholeheartedly and they won't take a modicum of responsibility, then I just choose not to work with people like that because they're going to be a drain on me and they're going to, not excel. Maybe they will later on, but not right now.
Let's talk about, you say that a salesperson's success has a lot to do with their imagination. What do you mean by that?
Well, one of the keys, if you had to take that book and just say you were going to believe everything that I told you and everything that the research proved, and I had to boil it down, and someone said, well, I can't read, Tamara, just tell me what to do to improve my business, it would be to imagine what you want your business to look like and imagine yourself being the person who has that business. Because obviously, if you already were being that person, you would already have that business. So imagination, in my opinion, is God's gift. I mean, our imagination is what enables us. It's what allowed, Mahatma Gandhi to see Britain being free. It's what enables anyone, Martin Luther King. We have to use our imaginations to see into the future what we want to create. And so that's what I mean by that statement.
Okay. Do you have any thought on what's one big mistake that most sales professionals make when it comes to building their business?
Yeah, I see a lot of people take forced action. And what I mean by that is they look at their bank account or they look at their pipeline and they kind of freak out. And so anything that you do that comes with the freak out feeling, and that's always designed by cortisol flowing through your system. Anything you do from that perspective is usually going to be erratic and not necessarily effective. So taking forced action can really, really be a problem. I prefer inspired action, and again, that comes from being more mindful.
Okay. So we are talking to Tamara Dorris. She wrote the book Mind Over Market, The Real Estate Warrior's Roadmap to Mindset, Marketing, and Media. But this is your 16th book. What are some of the other books about?
Actually, it's my third real estate book.
Okay.
And let's see, I have one on communications. I have a couple on health and just wellness, overall wellness. And I have a couple on building self-esteem.
Wow.
I think that pretty much covers it. Oh, I know. I have 4 novels that I've written. And interestingly enough, my novels actually are based on personal development as well. And the reason that I did that was because I want to reach as many people as I can. And some people just don't like self-help books. Some people are like, I'm not going to read a nonfiction. So I thought, well, if I can use my creativity and my writing skills to help those people find that little bit of hope that they can improve their lives and their minds. So I found 4 different ways via novels, a couple humorous real estate ones that kind of go to the same end.
Wow.
What made you decide to start writing?
Oh, I have wanted to write since I was like 12. So it's just in my blood. It just has always been in my blood. And when I was, I think, 17 or 18, my mom became a real estate agent. And she's like, oh, honey, when you grow up, you've got to get your license. It's so much fun. And so it was just kind of by osmosis that I ended up being someone who writes and teaches in the real estate industry.
And it's kind of cool because she's practicing what she preaches, like no limiting beliefs, that you can combine real estate and writing and training, and you don't have to have just a self-help book. You can create a novel and share your story that way. So that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Where is the best place for people to find you?
People can find me at my website on tamaradorris.com, or they can find me on Facebook just by my name. I spend a lot of time on Facebook. I make a lot of connections on Facebook. I'm a big fan.
Okay.
Oh, good.
And that is Tamara Dorris, Tamara Dorris, Dorris. You can check her out on Facebook or at tamaradorris.com.
Excellent. Thanks for coming on the show, Tamara. We really enjoyed having you.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's been great.
Great. So we're going to take a quick break for some commercials, and we'll be back with more Get Real after this.